Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2DCU, the Two Dudes Cinematic Universe. I am one of your hosts, JD Davis. That is our other host, Kevin Stepanian. And Kevin, happy Spider-Man week, my friend.
Happy Spider-Man week. We made it. We made it. We both bought our tickets already.
We made it. Now we just have to get through the week of spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm like off the internet right now, trying at least. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, Spider-Man No Way Home comes out the 17th, which is this Friday, correct? It's Friday. Right?
I'm going to the Thursday.
Oh, is it Thursday? 16th. It's the 17th or Thursday? Oh, okay. I think I'm going Friday, but there are showings Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. But either way, that's coming out this week. This is a huge show, guys. We have so much to talk about. This is like one of the biggest, like, there's a lot of, this is how movies and TV and entertainment world works, but it's around Christmas time. It's just one of those times a year. There's just so much. So this is a show you don't want to miss. If you're going to miss one, don't miss this one, because this is huge. Obviously, it's Spider-Man week. That we're going to talk all about that. This is our Spider-Man, preview episode. Is probably what I'm even going to label it on YouTube.
Sure. You know what I'm noticing, JD?
What's that?
We neither one of us discussed this ahead of time, but we both decided to wear Spider-Man red today.
I honestly didn't really make. You know what? I'm just going to say, yeah, we planned. Yeah, definitely, yeah, for sure. And I wish I had a blue accent around me somewhere, but I really don't. Wait, here we go. Blue pencil. Yeah, I totally.
There you go.
I'm just gonna put it right there. Yeah. But yeah, like we said, it's a huge week. But before we get into that, just some housekeeping. You can find us on YouTube if you want to watch us. Available on all podcast services. And I've been working really hard on. There's a big announcement coming. I'm gonna hold off, even though I'm pretty sure we're there, Kev. You know what I'm talking about. But a big announcement coming, just because. I want to kind of get some stuff together, but part of that announcement is we are going to do a Twitter page, a 2DCU Twitter page that is not created yet, but hopefully by the time you hear this, or if you're listening to it later or by next week, that'll be. So please follow us there when we have that created. We haven't created it yet, but that's coming. That's just a part of the announcement. So something to look forward to. The 2DCU making moves for sure. So. You're probably sitting there like, what did any of that mean? Yeah, you weren't really supposed to know, but I guess there's fun stuff coming. But yeah, find us anywhere you can find podcasts or YouTube. Type in 2DCU. You can Google it too. We're pretty much right there, and Spotify and YouTube and stuff. But we're a big deal, Kev.
We're the most popular,
but not big enough a deal
that I know about.
Yeah, easily. Even if you just throw the conglomerate of letters, get rid of the 2 and the U, and even like the DC in the middle were probably the biggest that too. I don't even know anything else.
Our batting average is way above what everything else is.
No, that's for sure. But I'm gonna lay out kind of the show here. Obviously, big Spider-Man. We're gonna finish the show with ranking the Spider-Verse. That is any Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
That has existed, including Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That includes the Venom. We're talking Toby, Andrew, Tom Holland. All movies. Yeah, no shows or anything like that, even though I'm a sucker for the 90s cartoon. Yeah. Still will watch that from time to time when I'm falling asleep, just because I'm a sucker for nostalgia, as you'll see probably in my list. But that'll be super fun, so stick around for that. But we're going to kind of save the Spider-Man stuff to closer to the end, because we got some other news. Like, there is other big stuff happening. We're also having a special guest on. He is my older brother, but shorter brother. So just so everyone knows that. You're not going to be able to tell, but I'm much taller than him. That's important that you know that. Luke, my brother Luke's going to come on. Super fan of Succession, which wrapped up this week. Kevin has not watched it yet, so that'll just be me and Luke. Yeah. I'll put that video in our What You Watching. And we'll do a little non-spoilers, just a little bit, just to get people to watch it. And then we'll do our spoilers of the season. And holy shit, what a finale. I cannot wait for Kevin to see that. Succession
I usually watch it on the Sunday, and I feel like I cheated myself here. If I knew it was the finale, I didn't know it was the finale.
I thought you did. Yeah, I thought you did.
Yeah, no, I definitely would have watched it, but
that's tough. Yeah, no, it's very good. Succession doesn't miss on season finales. That's what I've come, and it is really going into one of the all-time great shows. I honestly believe that.
After 3 seasons, all-time great shows.
It's dabbling with an all-time great. I'm not ready to say the greatest, but last year to me, season 2 made it clear that it is a great show.
Sure.
It is a great show, which you can give the great label to a lot of shows, not every show or anything like that. It was a great show. I'm not saying all-time great or whatever. This episode in particular really wrapped up this season in an awesome way, and I can't wait for you to see that. But we'll talk that later. We got some anticipation, movies coming out. Obviously, Spider-Man feels like it's overcasting, eclipsing everything. You know, but we have Matrix and some other things that we're going to say, you know, our level of anticipation for. So that'll all be in the news and all that. We're also going to talk a little Hawkeye here in a second. Kevin, as we speak right now, people are seeing Spider-Man. The premiere is this evening. We were recording on a Monday. As well as the press is getting about 1,000 people will probably see Spider-Man tonight. Folks,
we need to get those press badges.
Yeah, we're close. We need to get those. Come on, like it. You got to like and subscribe if you want us to get the press junket, so we can tell you, hey, this movie's really good. No spoilers or whatever.
Those lucky sons of bitches. You know,
there are people watching Spider-Man right now.
I would do a lot of things to watch that movie tonight.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'd go to another universe, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd like to think there's a universe out there where 2DCU is already way more famous, you know, where we will get, of course.
Right.
But, already had made it and are on a press junket right now on the way to see Spider-Man at the premiere and shaking everyone's hand. And oh my gosh, is that Toby sneaking in the back? You know, all that. So
Tom Holland to be my little brother.
Exactly. He's got enough brothers, but he could use one more, right?
Yes. He is my perfect little brother. I love image in my head. He's the best.
Tom Holland so much. There's so much press stuff too that's been like they've been on the press junket and all that. So there's been lots of content out there if you want to see it. But that's something I want to discuss too, is the amount they're sharing. But I'm going to save that for Spider-Man because I do have thoughts on that. But without a further ado, Kev, should we just get into what you're watching and talk some Hawkeye? Because that's got 4 episodes in, and we're going to do a non-spoilers on that. But you want to talk some Hawkeye?
I'll talk some Hawkeye.
You know, if it hits the mark for you, you know.
Ooh, nice.
That was a bad joke. All right, we're in What You Watching. Folks, we're in What You Watching here. All right, so because we want to save some time, we've been watching some stuff, Kev, but like nothing overly important. The thing that people have been watching, and people, especially MCU fans and people who are excited for Spider-Man and all that, is the new Hawkeye show. Episode 5 is going to come out before we're recording. We're recording right now. It's Monday. Episode 5 will come out Wednesday. So we have seen 4 episodes. This is going to be non-spoiler, by the way. So if you haven't seen Hawkeye, that's fine. We're not going to give anything plot detail or anything like that away. Nothing that isn't pretty clear from the trailers or things like that. Kevin, do you like Hawkeye? Have you enjoyed Hawkeye? Where's it kind of sit for you right now? I haven't talked to you about this. So I really don't know.
This might be my favorite Marvel show.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say it. I really liked Loki when it was on. I thought it had some very cool moments. It was a very interesting story. I love the Loki actor. This has a better ratio, man. Every episode is either fun or good or both.
Loki had a few stinkers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really liking that it's a very self-contained story. It takes place over like the course of a week or something. Just Hawkeye in New York City, just beating up bad guys and taking names. And I really like Haley Steinfeld as well. She's a great sidekick. Yep. And a really, really fun show. Can't recommend it enough.
I definitely would recommend. I mean, if like we always say, if you're MCU hardcore, it's required watching. You know, we always say that.
Definitely.
But even if you're just like, I kind of want something fun, and I really like the setting of New York and the Christmas. It's fun. It really does. It's a very fun vibe. I didn't expect very much from this show. I honestly wasn't like jacked for it. I like Hawkeye. I think Jeremy Renner's good. But I don't think I was sitting there begging for a Hawkeye show. And I'm definitely pleasantly surprised. Like, I'm definitely liking it more than I thought I would. Not that I was sitting there thinking, I'm not going to like this. I'm not ready to say it's my favorite. I'm not ready to say it's better than Loki. But I think you do make a good point. I know we say this kind of cliche or phrase a lot, the batting average kind of thing. But it is true. Like, if something is consistently good, it deserves, credit for that. Because Loki did as good as it was in the highs. There were a couple episodes where there was 1 or 2 episodes where I'm like, God, that was that stunk. And in a 6-episode series, you almost can't really afford those yet.
No,
in
exactly.
Every Marvel show so far, we've gotten them, which is strange because it's like you have 6 episodes to tell a very complex story, and it feels like we waste them sometimes, which is crazy. Obviously, it shows that are like 15 episodes or 20 episodes, or even like 12, which is kind of like a standard HBO or something like that.
HBO does
there
like
can
10
be,
every time or 8.
Right.
Yeah.
There can be a filler or 2 if they're relatively entertaining.
Sure.
There's been kind of a weird amount of filler in Marvel, but I guess that's a side tangent. But I will say that, to my point, I guess Hawkeye has not had that. And I think you're right in saying that. Some of my parts I really like about this show so far. Mm-hmm. Is Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld, the Kate Bishop and Hawkeye characters' relationship. They're dynamic. It's very fun. It's very similar to Iron Man, Spiderman. Obviously not as good, but that's kind of the vibe they're going for, and I really like it. Kind of the naive kid. It's kind of like a cute, fun relationship. The only thing is, I guess it's similar, but Hawkeye is like, he's kind of playing the, oh gosh, this kid, like I just want to get rid of it. That kind of character, right. The begrudgingly, falling in love with the
I already have
kid,
3 kids. I don't need a 4th. Yeah.
Right. But, finding out it's like, damn it, I kind of like this kid dynamic. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I really like that. The action's been as good as I can expect from these shows. There's been some good sequences for sure. There's been some fun sequences. I really like the New York thing and the Christmas and all that. I love the way it's kind of like framed, I guess. My complaint about the show is we're like 4 episodes in, and I am not entirely sure. Like, I guess I know what the plot is, but like, I would say the plot is kind of the weakness, which sounds weird because I am high on it, because the plot is just like, you're like 4 episodes in, you're like, what are we doing again? Oh yeah, I guess we are doing that. Really? That's what we're doing? Like,
they're keeping a lot in the dark too.
A lot in the dark, 100%. A lot in the dark. A lot of like, I think, obvious misdirection stuff, but maybe not to everyone. I guess at the end of the day, it's like, I really like these episodes and I like the emotional beats. And there's a lot of Clint dealing with Black Widow's loss and some really great intense moments. I think Jeremy Renner's doing a great job, as maybe some of the best we've seen him in Hawkeye, because we're letting him kind of to show off. You're getting his family. You're getting some good emotional beats in these episodes. At the end of the day, though, it's just like, I like pretty much everything that's going on here, but I could do better with like a solid, like,
A to B story.
Like the why, I guess, is where I'm caught up. It's like, this is all happening and I love it, but like, why again? Like,
plot wise, it does seem to be like a lot of stuff is just happening around Hawkeye. He very much stumbles into this whole situation.
Right.
He doesn't have a driving force except for people to stop shooting at him, really.
Right.
And it's just 3 or 4 separate factors kind of affecting things. But, it is fun in him dealing with these things, I guess. Like, to your point. It
kind of reminds me, but this is where it's different than that show, Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it's like, I don't really get what the plot is here. And like a lot of the decisions are like, well, okay, whatever. But the difference is like the rest is so fun, I don't care. And it's Hawkeye. So like, I don't need it to be like groundbreaking plot. What I wanted from the show, it's delivering on. So like in that way, like I do really like this show.
Yeah.
And that fits, like the description I'm making fits for Hawkeye. My problem with Falcon and Winter Soldier is I'm like, the plot makes no sense. What's driving these bad guys, and it's not that fun. And it's not that fun. Like the buddy cop dynamic, which I think wasn't great. Even if it was, it's not enough to carry it. You know what I mean? Like that dynamic. Whereas this show, I think the extra, the stuff, the people, the interactions, the emotional beats, the fluff, some of the fun and funny and some of the action and things like that are worth it, are making the plot like to just be like, we just need a plot for Hawkeye. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind it. It's not like there's giant plot holes. It's just very straightforward. I don't think there's any. Yeah, it's just very straightforward. Where I guess Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'd look and I'm like, well, there are plot holes.
Yeah, and
like, people aren't asking questions. Yeah, the people
Black Staffers.
I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that show at all. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like the expectation was lower, obviously, with Hawkeye than either of those 2 characters. And yeah, because of that expectation being higher, I feel like this tries to do less in the in-between parts.
Fair.
You can see that in the action shots and the set pieces and stuff. It's smaller scale for sure. And I think that actually helps the show move faster and, suits the camera work
Hawkeye,
better.
It should be smaller scale.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But like the fights, in my opinion, Hawkeye shooting a couple arrows and then quick doing some karate or whatever looks better than any fight scene in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and Haley Steinfeld's really good at that stuff too. She's obviously a young, athletic, good at those kind of things. And she is going to be a fun addition to the MCU. I cannot wait for a Spider-Man and her, if we ever get it or whatever happens there. I think that could be a really fun dynamic. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, right. He's going to go to Sony or whatever. But guys, this is going to be a theme. We're going to bring everything back to Spider-Man today. It's pretty much all we're thinking about. But no, I was pleasantly surprised by the show. I'm still not ready to say it's my favorite yet. There are 2 episodes left. I still think I like Loki better, but this is clearly the second best in my mind. I did like WandaVision, but again, that show I just wasn't for me until about halfway through. I totally accept people who love it. Like there are people that's like that's their favorite. Like I get that. Yeah, I can understand how it's your favorite. Quirky, it's just very not artsy. It's not my cup of tea, really. Even though I did enjoy it, cup of tea. I am having a cup of tea. But yeah, I have enjoyed this show. Now I will say, 2 episodes left. This is before the 5th episode. I've seen the director has made a statement and basically said the 5th episode is going to break the internet. Twitter's going to go crazy. So there are definitely plenty of rumors. If you have been keeping along and you're in the knot, you've seen the episodes. You probably know some of this. I won't say it because it's spoilers, but some of the big characters that have been rumored and stuff like that. And I think we're going to get that character Wednesday, just based on that, the fact that the internet's going to, this or that, or we're going to get, something big. And it's also the last one before Spider-Man. I don't know if it's going to tie in, probably not, but something to think about. So I think 5 is going to be huge. And then 6 is obviously the conclusion there. And we'll see, what happens. Are we with, and this is questions, by the way, I was asking before the series started. So it's not based on things I've seen, but are we going to end up with Kate Bishop as our Hawkeye moving forward in some capacity? Or is she going to be is Jeremy Renner done? Does he die in this series? Does he give it up? Does he retire and have her take over? These are questions I was asking beforehand, so it's not like a spoiler thing. But that's, we'll find out, and I'm really excited. We will do a spoiler talk after it's all over. We'll talk that too. But any last thoughts on Hawkeye? Anything else? I love that you
really
love it. I like it too.
This show, I really like this show. That's all I have to say about it.
Yep. There are some characters I'm like, I'm not loving this, or like, I think you're just, sometimes I think they're almost obvious with their misdirection, but I could be completely wrong. Like when the series isn't over.
We haven't seen the finale yet.
That could be wrong about being wrong. Part of it.
Yeah.
Yep. That could be a part of it. Is it the over the top misdirection is a misdirection in its own. So I'll let them finish before I get into that stuff. But I think there are definitely some complaints I have, but overall I couldn't be more satisfied, I guess, with what's going on.
Definitely.
All right, so that was kind of our Hawkeye talk. Before we get into the news, I want to tell you about my friends at Mohawk Honda. The current supply and demand challenges within the auto industry make this the perfect time to get top dollar for your vehicle. Right now at Mohawk Honda, they take advantage of the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. They will put you in a car in a vehicle the same day you come in, or even if you don't buy from them. That's a pretty sweet deal, especially if you're a recent college grad like me and you need some cash or a ride. Mohawk Honda has consistently kept their lot fully stocked with hundreds of pre-owned vehicles. The large inventory makes shopping fun as you browse through the new makes and models you can choose from. You can also check out the full selection online. So stop in to say hi to Greg Johnson, the assistant regional manager or general manager, or any other of the sales consultants here at Mohawk Honda. There's a vast selection of Honda certified pre-owned vehicles. So now is the time to take advantage of the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. Mohawk Honda in Glenville, where they always go out of their way to please you. All right, Kev, it's news time. Before we get into Spider-Man, there are some other things going on in the world and in Hollywood, if you can believe that.
As much as Hollywood doesn't want us to believe, there are other things happening other than Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, Kevin Feige has done a great job just eclipsing everything because they're big things. Like, it's Christmas time. There are really big things coming.
Yeah.
We'll talk about our anticipation for some stuff in a minute here. But the King, is it the King's Man? I forget what the new King's Man is.
The King's Man.
The King's Man. It's a prequel, obviously, in the Kingsman series, series we both like, right? 1 and 2. I actually just recently saw this
series.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I love them. But so this is a prequel. World War One time, I believe, is where it's supposed to be set. None of the same characters, obviously, because it takes place way before. But it has come out to the press, and I believe it comes out next week to the people. And it has not gotten negative first reactions, which is a bummer to hear because usually, I shouldn't say usually because I think Eternals was a big example of why, but I don't know. I don't love here. I guess like anything you would rather hear. It's really good.
Okay, right. Yeah,
I'm worried. I was a little worried just because like the setting and all that, it's very like gray and kind of blah looking, like the way it's designed, which is not very Kingsman.
No,
but at the end of the day, if it fits the vibe, it's got a decent story. I don't see how it can be bad.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the second Kingsman had what's his name, Tiny Dancer, Elton John as a guest star. That was a bright and colorful movie all the way through, and it is fun and lively and all that, but it's going to be weird to switch, the tone of the movie versus the attitude of the movie. It's going to be, I don't know. I have nothing but the highest hopes, though. I do not care what these people are saying.
Great actors doing it.
All critics have lost my faith as of late because of Eternals, and then before that, they liked Venom. JD.
True.
So
the critics didn't really. The people kind of did.
Both groups liked it more than we did.
Sure.
Let's just put it like that.
True. I mean, there were critics who did like it. No, the more telling thing was the Eternals trashing was ridiculous. I
unwarranted.
Adore that movie. I love that movie so much. But what's nice about this is I didn't know they were doing a Kingsman 3. I guess I wasn't keeping up on that just because I'm kind of a new fan to that series. But they are doing a Kingsman 3 that is going to finish the story of his Eggsy, but what's that? The actor's like Igor.
It sounds like Eggsy.
Either way, Eggsy is Eggsy's character, and he's great. He played Elton John, obviously, in Rocket Man and stuff, so he's a really good actor. But Eggsy's story is getting a third and finish. I didn't know that. I was like, oh, is this prequel going to be it? Knowing that there's the third finishing that trilogy is going to make me go into the prequel probably more like, if it's fun, good. A little added. If not, I'm not giving up on the series just because it was kind of wildly different.
Sure.
And I really like the way this trilogy has gone. And if they just give me a third movie that is similar to the first two, I'm going to be happy and content wrapping that up. So knowing that started filming today, you told me?
Today.
Yeah, that started filming today. That's coming in the future gives me a little more hope. But I love Kingsman. If you have not seen Kingsman, those are a ton of fun. Like if you like comic book movies, you should see Kingsman. It's right up that alley.
Absolutely. It's James Bond, but it's
doesn't take itself seriously.
If James Bond and Borderlands had a baby, it would be the Kingsman. It's awesome.
All right. I don't know Borderlands, so I'm gonna take your word for it. All right, moving on. The Game Awards were last week. We're not gonna talk a ton of video games, but Game Awards were last week. Obviously because the pandemic and stuff got delayed and weird stuff. This is one of the kind of most average to below average years of video games in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't even know a big video game that really came out this year that's not like online. Like a definitely single player game this year was pretty weak. Obviously Halo and different stuff and some Call of Duties and stuff like that. The online stuff is always going to be there, but just straight like single player games, which I love. I love single player narratives. It was not a big year for that at all. I think It Takes Two was the game of the year, which is like a very like RPG. Like I honestly don't even know what it is, but it was not like it's never something I'm going to play. It was never something I'm going to play. It's just not it's like very animated and like it's just not my style. So I guess congrats to them. But like I looked at it like the final, and the only one I played like a little bit of was Resident Evil, and even that, I'm like, that was a Game of the Year finalist. Like on a normal year, like that wouldn't make my like top 5 in that year.
Right.
You know, like I only played it because I was desperate for games, and it was fine. It was a fine game if you like horror games or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of a weird year in general. I'm not a big like game awards guy or anything like that. I liked a couple big games that come out a year. I'll talk about them, like Guardians. Guardians won Best Narrative. That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So absolutely. I guess what I said I liked about it, I was spot on. I guess because I do like what I said was the talking, and yeah, I'm correct. You know, I'm a man in the media, Kevin. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
But the big thing I took away from this is the Star Wars Eclipse. Another Star Wars project. Obviously, this was like we got nothing about what the game is, but it was a really cool trailer. And I imagine there's going to be some kind of lightsaber or whatever. I know there's an open world project happening for Star Wars. I don't know if this is it, but it's just cool to see we got more Star Wars down the pipe, because as good as Fallen Order was, that's pretty much all we've gotten. Squadrons and some other random shooters.
Exactly. Like everyone's favorite part about the Star Wars universe is the lightsaber users, right?
Right.
I mean, obviously you have like Battlefront and, like you said, like Squadrons and stuff where you can be other parts of the universe and sometimes be a Jedi or whatever. But a lightsaber fight, Jedi focus, or I guess Sith or Force sensitive or whatever the fuck they're probably going to end up calling this thing, set in the High Republic. Ends up being. It should be fun. Anything that I can use a lightsaber with and get some combos on is my kind of
Star Wars property. I don't get like obviously it's a divisive fan base. It's the hardest thing it is the hardest thing to serve everyone 100%, because it is the most, everyone's got ideas and no one's ever going to be satisfied. One thing we can all agree on though is we all think there should just be more lightsabers and pretty much everything. Like we want to see Jedi. Like it's the coolest aspect of Star Wars. And they're like, can we get like Force using Jedi, like origin story, something like Fallen Order? And for every Fallen Order we get, they're going to be like, well, here's 3 shooters and an X-Wing game. It's like, no, we're good. We'll take Battlefront every couple years, but keep cranking out the like narrative games. Like definitely we want. We play Star Wars for the lore and the narrative. Okay, we hear you. Can I offer you an X-Wing game? No. We're good. Star Wars, we're fine. We're good. Like
exactly.
It is incredible to me that it takes them so long to kind of like get it. But now we have this. We have Knights of the Old Republic reboot. So hopefully they're hearing us. So
if we can just get a movie, JD.
We finally got a decent TV show.
Yeah.
And now we're got a decent video game. We're creeping our way towards movie. We're not ready for a good movie. Star Wars is like, here's a crumb, eat it. And we're all like, yes, sir. Because we know they're going to eat it. Eat it up. But so that's kind of some video game talk. But Star Wars Eclipse, if you haven't looked YouTube, that's a really cool trailer video. I have no idea what it means or is about. The trailer video to me made it seem like they don't even know what it's about.
No, it's Dark Drax just pounding on a drum.
Yeah, and then showing like images of like faces of all the different that's a robot we've seen, that's a alien we've seen. Cool. It looked like a TV show like thing, honestly.
Very photorealistic. For sure.
So that's kind of the Game Awards. We're not going to go overly into that really, because honestly that's not really our the thing we know a ton about. I'm not going to sit here and deep dive the Game Awards, but the last thing I have before we just talk about our anticipation, this can kind of fall in the anticipation, even though it's not coming out soon. We have this new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or it's not. What is it? What was it end up called? Either way, we got the trailer for the Miles Morales. Cross the Spider-Verse. That's it. Part 1. So we know we're at least getting a trilogy out of this thing, and I think
we know we're at least getting part 2. You mean including trilogy. The original?
Yeah, okay, like the whole thing is going to end up being a trilogy, not just a sequel, I guess. But I think I speak for both of us when we were incredibly pleasantly surprised in Spider-Verse. Like the rest of the world, we were not like ready for it or knew what it was going to be, and it ended up being so good.
Now we just hope that John Mulaney and Nick Cage are in it.
I don't know. We know that Oscar Isaac's in it as Spider-Man 2049 or 2099 or something
2049.
Like that. Something like that. Either way. We know that, but either way, this teaser was perfect. They had aged a little bit from what we have seen in the teaser. If you haven't looked it up, go look it up. It's like a minute, but it's just more of what we like with the Gwen, Stacy, and Miles Morales characters kind of interacting, which is also Haley Steinfeld, who's having a moment in Marvel. It was just fun, like the him like cleaning up his room, being embarrassed, definitely looking older. The whole I'm grounded as Spider-Man grounded, all that. I'm just unbelievably jacked. I know there's got so much time until this comes out, but the part one got me jacked up too. Just knowing like they're set. This is probably the last good thing Sony's done.
Yeah. I mean, you have the PlayStation, so you can attest to a higher degree. But I
I guess on the movie front.
Then yeah, yes, correct.
Yeah. I absolutely we'll show it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is on our list, so you'll see where we think. And I've seen your list obviously because I made the graphic. And in mine, you'll see we absolutely love that movie, and we'll talk about it a little more then. And I don't know anything about Spider-Man 2049. It looks like they're obviously foes, at least for the time being. But just the animation style, all of it, you could tell they by this, it's just a teaser, but you can tell they like, all right, like we're just like having fun. We got the vibe down. Like we know what hit, and whoever's making this is got it down pat to like, we're just going to have fun and just give you more of what we love. Cause the little bit of jumping around throughout this time, everyone came to him. It looks like Miles was going to everyone else.
Yep.
It was the original idea of the multiverse, or at least the original execution of a multiverse, and done so well. Maybe easier said than done in a cartoon than real life, but we're going to see that Friday. Yeah. So anything else? Just Jack for this, or is there anything else really to add?
Nothing really to add. We don't have much information,
Right.
But
it's news,
Very exciting. I look forward to hearing, especially a release date would be nice. But this will be good. There's a 0% chance that this movie is anywhere close to bad.
Right.
0%.
I mean, if they give us just more of the first, it's going to be considered a win. Moving on, I want to do the anticipation for. I got about 3 projects here that are coming up within the next couple weeks and or month. Christmas, Sure. I'm going to give you on a scale of 1 to 10. Tell me your anticipation, how excited you are for said project. We had talked about it a couple weeks ago. Go check out the episode where the Book of Boba Fett trailer came out. We were not overly impressed by the trailer. That being said, Kevin, what is your anticipation 1 to 10? 10 being I cannot wait. It's like going to be one of my like most anticipated things. Basically, Spider-Man is a 10. 5 being and lower to 5 being pretty much like not overly excited at all.
For Boba?
Yeah.
2.
Oh, you're that low. Okay, you're low.
They didn't ask anyone what they wanted from this show. They just made it.
Yep.
Why would you do out of prime old man Boba Fett for his debut on a TV show?
Yeah.
Set it in the Clone Wars.
Totally fair.
Or not Clone Wars. Set it in the early stages of the Empire. Let him do work for Jabba. And
right. Let him travel. So tired of Tatooine. I mean, we're just regurgitating some of the stuff we said earlier in our other episode, but like, I'm with you. I'm going to go ahead and because it's Star Wars, because The Mandalorian was so good, because I'm interested in it, not necessarily like think it's going to be good. I'm going to put it at like a 6. I'm a little more than at. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like I want to watch it.
Sure.
I haven't had new Star Wars in forever. So that's a big part of it. Probably almost the entire driving force. That being said, I'm not going into it being like, I'm going to like this. Like I was jacked for Mandalorian season 2 because I thought they laid great groundwork. I'm nervous. I mean, odds of me being like, this is awesome, I feel like are low, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let them show me. I'm going to try to go in with a positive attitude, but you're 100% right. It was just not the story we were asking for. Not to mention Boba Fett, like part of his appeal to me was the kind of mystery of it all. The fact that we're taking his helmet off and just kind of showing it being this old dude is taking out some of the badassness of him. Albeit small parts in the 5th and 6th Star Wars movie.
I'll go into it. I'll watch the show from beginning to end, and I'll do everything in my power to go in as unbiasedly as I possibly can.
Yeah.
The bar is going to be very low for me, I'll say.
True.
I don't expect anything from this show, so it very could well surprise me. But
I thought the perfect amount of Boba Fett was what we got in The Mandalorian. Being like, oh, cool, a Boba Fett, like he's a part of it, and he's kind of traveling. He was in a couple episodes. He got his one moment to kind of be the badass, even though you could tell like the action was enhanced. They made it look much better than it was. That being said, they did make it look decent. But like I was okay with it because we're watching The Mandalorian be a badass too. I wasn't needing all my action fix from that. This show, he's going to have to carry it, which is going to be tougher for sure. But I'm going to go in trying to be positive. But I thought like I was good where we left Boba Fett.
Yeah. Exactly.
I enjoyed the bit we got. I liked him Mandalorian, but I enjoyed that bit. I thought that was fine. Of old man Boba, that's all I need. If you want to recast him and show me him in his prime, albeit that, yeah, I'd watch the shit out of that show. But that being said, that's the Mandalorian. Like, we just got the Mandalorian Star Wars. Why is this your next project? An older Mandalorian? It's the same damn thing. A guy walking around in a suit in the desert, kind of a Western vibe. Like, we literally just did this, and we're getting another season of Mandalorian. I don't need this.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like,
I'm talking myself down on my anticipation number. By the
depending on where Mandalorian goes, obviously we don't really know what's going to be happening in season 3 because season 2 ended so very randomly. But yeah, or for the Boba Fett show, if they are not making the Mandalorian go back to the bounty hunter life, make Boba Fett just the kingpin and have a bounty hunter show. If you want to force old man Boba in so freaking hard. Let there be cool action scenes with a brand new character that you can make.
Let him be like the second, third main character, kind of like he wasn't. We're kind of describing Mandalorian season 2, which is a different dynamic.
Exactly.
I guess we're just getting another, and I haven't seen we're just getting another Mandalorian like that.
Another probably worse
Mandalorian. Like I think Mandalorian's awesome, but I'm satisfied with my Star Wars Western kind of vibe of the guy in the suit and just being kind of the lone wolf badass who's got that, I guess I've seen that. I don't need the Kingpin deal that's everyone in TV's doing right now. So, all right. Next one, 1 to 10, same kind of feeling. The Witcher season 2 comes out, I believe, the same day as Spider-Man. What, Thursday? I think that's the 17th too, isn't it? Yeah. Which is an interesting choice for Netflix. But Witcher season 1 set records for Netflix. It was freaking awesome. Yeah. Henry Cavill, I think, is great in that role. I loved it. I played the video game, the third one. But what is your anticipation? I've only talked to you about this a few times. You watched it before me, weirdly enough, actually, even though I kind of seem to be a big fan.
I played the games. Obviously, there's so much lore behind them, though. Which I love. Books and just
there's 8
crazy.
Books.
Yeah, it's insane. But that's my kind of exposure to the first season. So I probably a 6-ish kind of. Okay. I like fantasy stuff. Obviously I recommended a D&D show on this podcast, but for me, it was just it needs a bigger budget. Maybe it was just kind of an expanded kind of thing. The monster
trailers looked awesome though.
Yeah.
But after season 1, I think it got at that budget. I think they're really leaning into this, trying to be their high fantasy.
Yeah. That's true. So maybe 6 or 7. I will definitely be watching it, and it's going to release not weekly because it's not on Netflix. So I'll try to do all 10 episodes in 4 or 5 days or something. I'll try to get it done as quick as possible.
If you're 6 or 7, I'm probably 7 or 8. Probably closer to 8. I'm very excited. I loved the first season. I played the video game, the third one. Love that. I understand. Yeah, that's a completely different time frame than this. But I like that. I like knowing kind of I kind of know that character, but I don't really know the whole story there. It makes the show kind of familiar, but yet you don't know what's going to happen, which is kind of a cool feeling that you don't really get. Because usually if you know the source material, you know the source material. So that's kind of a cool aspect of it.
Fuck you, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, that's I don't need to see any more Assassin's Creed on anything but a video game, but that's a different story. But yes, I think Henry Cavill is awesome in this role. I think there was really cool action sequences and some really, really cool groundwork laid with the lore. Some really cool looking battles.
Very well shot.
Well shot. And I think they're throwing more money at it. What I've seen from the trailers has made me more excited because these trailers look awesome. I'm so excited. As well as, Geralt, and I cannot think of the girl's name right
Jennifer?
Now. No, not Jennifer. The little girl, the younger girl.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, that's that's a huge relationship in the games and stuff like that, and they're finally going to be together. So seeing that dynamic and seeing if they kind of nail that chemistry is very important for the show going forward. But I'm thinking they will, just because I really like both people playing those roles. So I'm beyond excited. I'll say an 8. I'm pretty excited for that. It'll definitely be my, before Christmas watching. I'll be watching that as it comes out. Does Netflix release them all?
Yeah.
So that'll be, I could definitely see myself doing probably like 1 or 2 of those a day, killing that off in a week or two. So I'm very excited for that. The next one here, I'm going to imagine your number's higher than mine on this. The Matrix 4 comes out next week?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it this week?
So.
Either way, it comes out soon. It's going to be on HBO Max, so I'll definitely watch it. I just recently rewatched the first one for the second time ever with a couple friends who hadn't seen it. I really like the first one. I think the first one's cool. It's obviously a really revolutionary idea. I'm honestly probably not going to watch the other ones, even though I probably should for the fourth one, just because I just don't really want to, because I've heard they're just not great. And I don't love the first one. I like the first one.
Right.
But what's your number? For Matrix?
Probably the same. I'll be like 6 or 7 for this. Keanu Reeves might be my favorite person in Hollywood. I love this man to my death. Bill and Ted is one of my all-time favorite comedies ever made, ever. And everything he's done,
yeah,
it's so good. But this is past his prime. Obviously it's like very weird on the timeline, or relative timeline, I guess, in the Matrix, but it's the Matrix. I like the season, or I like the series.
It's gonna have great visuals, right? It needs to nail the visuals, yeah.
And it has to let Keanu Reeves be Keanu Reeves. But
I'm very excited it's on HBO, because that's how I wouldn't go to the theaters for this, if I'm just being honest. But if you love Matrix, definitely do. I'm sure it's gonna look awesome on a theater. It's just there's a lot of good stuff coming out. I'm kind of saving up for. I'll probably see Spiderman like 3 times. On the low end, but yeah, I'm probably like a 4. I'd say is probably my number. Maybe a 3. I'm excited to watch it, but if it didn't exist, I wouldn't care. If it was in theaters and I couldn't see it, I wouldn't care. But I am excited at the opportunity to watch it, strictly because I think it'll look cool. I think there'll be some cool action. I do like kind of sci-fi, but I'm not like a sci-fi nut. It has to be high-level sci-fi. So it'll be interesting to see. I think this could be like a dark horse, being like, I think it could be really good. I guess I have a little bit of I think it could be good. I think it could be good. Because if you look at what the Matrix is, it was like, wow, that was good in the early 2000s. Could you imagine it like today? They could really do some fun stuff with CGI and different things like that. But I don't want it to feel like a reboot. I want it to be kind of different. It'll be interesting kind of how they do that, going back to the Matrix, because from what I understand, that series kind of wrapped up pretty good from what I'm told, even though I haven't seen it. So yeah, that's interesting how they're going to do it. I tell you what, there's interesting aspects of this movie to be like, I want to watch I'm just curious on some things. Will it look good? How are they going to do it? And at the end of the day, I love Keanu Reeves. I'll watch pretty much anything he's in. But all right, so that was kind of our anticipation, whatever. Now I want to get in to full Spider-Man, blowout preview, whatever you want to call it. Yes. We're going to have a game here where I'm going to name people in a little bit. I want to just talk about it openly first. So we'll get into that. But Kevin, so this movie, we're going to avoid spoiler. Everyone tried, first of all, don't spoil because you're the worst.
Even Uncle Ben dies.
What? What? Uncle Ben?
I know.
No, Benjamin Matthew McConaughey? That's who plays Uncle Ben, right?
Yeah.
But even after it comes out, don't be the guy who spoils things. That person sucks. I'll be like, well, it's been out for 2 days. It's give it a little bit. Not everyone's gonna go opening week, especially because tickets were hard to get. I'm gonna go out and I'm excited, obviously. I'm nervous. I'm officially nervous because it's like,
what? This movie, there's no way this movie's anywhere close to bad. What are you talking about, nervous? Why?
Because of what you just said. But what
no
if
way.
It is?
No way.
But that little.
No, it's no possibility.
It'll ruin me. It'll ruin me. When you have these big movies like this, you're always just a little worried. It's like Endgame, Infinity War, it's like all those. It's like, and they're almost never not bangers. But you're like, but what if? What if?
X equals 0, JD. X equals 0. There's no way.
Yeah, you're probably right. I will say the promotion for this has been interesting, we were kind of complimenting it for a while, and I was complimenting. I think this is the Sony of it all. They're giving away like there's like 15 minutes of the movie on YouTube. If you really like go down, they're releasing 30 seconds here, a minute here, clips here, this there on the Spider-Man Day or Spider Monday or whatever. I watched part of that because I wanted to watch the villains panel with William Dafoe and all the different. I think who else was there? Jamie Foxx and Molina or whatever. Alfred Molina. I really like that, but like in between, like this interview and this interview, they'd show like a little like 15-second clip that was like not in trailers, and it's weird. I know the first minute was released on YouTube, and they've released like little 30 seconds here or there. I don't like that, and I don't want to watch those. And it's weird. It's incredibly, it's incredibly weird. But it's also like all over my YouTube. Like I'm not gonna be able to go on YouTube this week, Twitter, anything. I just think it's a really strange way to market your movie. Here are your trailers. If you really wanted to make a third trailer with some of those clips, then you should have done that. But don't give me them in the context of the movie, just like 30 seconds uncut. Well, this is what's going on. Like we know honestly, I think we know too much. And not that we know we probably know like 2% of what's happening in this movie, but I think 2% is too much.
It's a lot.
There's a whole angle of it that it's like, oh, I didn't really need to know like the college angle or this angle and it's like, why give those away? We're already excited. Why give those away? I don't get Sony's thing here. Are you kind of on the same page? Or too much YouTube shit?
100%. And I think you nailed it on the head with your first sentence. This is Sony. Obviously, this is Sony. We haven't seen this kind of weird, sketchy marketing in any Marvel movie up to this point.
Yep.
Weird. And they've all of a sudden comes out.
They've had movies this big too. You can't be like, well, it's huge. No, Endgame was huge.
Fuck you.
They're not just like, here's the first minute of Endgame. Tony's in a ship with what's her face. It's like, I don't need that though. Like I'm going to see that in the first minute when I'm in a movie theater.
Yep.
I don't need to see that. And it was almost unavoidable. I did see part of that thing because I thought when I clicked on it on Twitter that it was like a scene that we had already like seen in a trailer or something like that. And I ended up like kind of watching it. I was like, and it's nothing. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not anything. It's exactly what we thought. But like, it's just like, why? Like, I don't like we sat there and we're all like, oh, it's starting right where the last one left off, where they're swinging and this and that. But like, you don't need to like literally tell us, even though like we figured it out. Like, well, they figured it out. Here you go. Like, there's just too much of that shit. I don't really love the way they've been marketing it. I thought the trailers were good, but I think
everything other than the trailers.
And like we've said, like we've said, they have some questions to answer if certain people aren't in this movie, because then they based on what happens in this movie will actually determine how good or bad their marketing was. Anything else you want to say? Just general Spider-Man thoughts before I go into our little game here, and then we just kind of shout out some bold predictions at the end.
God damn it. No, it's just now after that conversation, I wonder if there's a shred of doubt of this movie being good.
Sorry to put that in you.
It's all right.
I'm dealing with it, so you must deal with it. Yeah. And I don't think it's going to be bad, people.
I get to send you the gift this time.
Oh, you do get to send me the gift because you're going Thursday and I'm going Friday. Damn it. I really should have figured something out there. No, I actually love the gift. I love the gift. All right. So here's the game, Kev.
Yeah.
I'm going to name a person, an idea, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me whether you think they're for sure in it, might be in it, or are for sure not in it. And the way we're going to do that is my clever little game here. Spider-Man No Way Home means they're not in this movie. That idea, that anything is not in this movie. No. Far From Home is a maybe. They might be. I'm not saying it's likely, or it's probably more on the unlikely, especially if you go from the Far From Home wording. But it's possible. You're gonna put it as a maybe. You wouldn't be like, what? Shocked, I guess. And Homecoming is like, I'm almost positive they're in it, even though they haven't been in promotions or things like that. I'm almost positive they're in it. So we got to start with the big dogs.
Right.
And I'll just package them because I think they're either both or they're not. Andrew and Toby are in Spider-Man No Way Home. Kevin, is that Homecoming, Far From Home, or No Way Home?
No, it's Homecoming. For sure, Homecoming.
Yeah. No, it's Homecoming. 100%. I agree. They're gonna.
They wouldn't have like we talked about last time. They would not have cast the villains as such if they didn't want at least us to think about the heroes being in here.
But if not,
people are going to be livid. People are going to be livid at this movie if they're not.
And people have told me, and critics and stuff, you can't think about it like that going in. It's either a good movie or a bad movie. And usually I'm with that. But the way they have marketed this movie and the things that they have done, and they've all but said it, which is why I'm not going to get worked up because I know they're in it. But if they're not in it, people have a right to be upset based on the way you led them to something that wasn't there. Similar to WandaVision with the other Quicksilver. Where I was like, people were like, oh, like you can't be mad that it wasn't him. It's like, then why do it? Like it just felt like a joke on the fans. It felt weird.
Yeah,
similar.
Right, exactly.
So that was a pretty easy one. I'm also Homecoming on that, which means we think in the movie, almost positive. My next one here is a Kevin prediction, bold prediction a couple weeks ago. Kevin, Miles Morales, and I will say, I'm going to go like the person. So no Easter eggs or whatever. No, like, I think like, not saying he has to be a big part, not saying, but like very clearly like, oh, that's Miles Morales, even if it is like a very small, like Easter egg, but the person needs to be there, not just the idea of him. Homecoming. Not like a prowler or something alluding to him.
Homecoming.
Miles Morales.
For sure, Homecoming. Yeah.
Wow. I'm shocked by that. You think he is in this movie?
Yeah. They need a new Spider-Man in Marvel. Yeah. Yes, I do.
I'm going to go more Far From Home in the fact that I think he could be in it. But I also I don't expect it. I think if I was a betting man, I would say better odds that he's not in it, but not by a lot. Like 55% he's not in it is kind of where I'm at right now. But I know that was like a thing for you. Definitely. All right. This one's broad.
Okay, great.
Is there, I don't even know how I want to word it. Is there mention of or in, is there X-Men? Is there X-Men stuff in this movie? Any way?
No. No Way Home.
No Way Home? Just No Way Home? Not at all?
No. I think it's too early.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think we're gonna get Fantastic Four before we get X-Men.
Yeah, but I think X-Men's one of those things that you can start the mutant talk early and let it spiral. Like just the idea of it.
Why would they put it in a multiverse movie? I guess that's too many planes of existence.
True, 100%. I would say probably No Way Home, unless the only way around maybe is the mention or the idea of mutations or mutant might be the idea of that being in there is a better chance than like a straight up like X-Men reference,
right?
Of that universe, but and then that's that universe at all. That's not like the X-Men. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like X-Men. Like there's something in there where like, oh, that's clearly an X-Men something.
You're right.
Okay, my next one here is Charlie Fox as Daredevil. So the Daredevil, which we have confirmed from Kevin Feige, is the same Daredevil from Netflix, even though that's not the same actor, not the same universe, obviously, but they're going to use the same actor. Kevin Feige has told us when they get to it. Is Charlie Cox in this movie, you think?
Yes, I do.
You do?
No, I don't think Daredevil is, but I think in that trailer shot when they first go to prison, he's going to be the lawyer.
That's the scuttlebutt for sure. Oh no, where'd you go? Kevin,
I'm here.
We lost you. Kevin just went to another universe.
Sorry,
Kevin's failing us. This is a new Kevin. This is Kevin from Earth Universe 1242. Yeah.
I have all of Kevin's beliefs and memories, but I am definitely a new Kevin.
New Kevin. All right, cool. You good? Because the other one was getting a little worn out,
Yeah, I could see
his whole shtick, wearing red sweaters and whatnot. It looks good on you, though.
Thanks, man.
But is that a Homecoming or a Far From Home? Yes. Is it a yes, or a maybe yes on Charlie Cox?
Here's the thing, right? For the next several movies, right? The next time we're in New York, it may be Doctor Strange. Maybe. I mean, that's like going to be traveling the multiverse too.
And there's going to be a lot going on there.
A lot going on in that. So I don't think we're going to get back to New York City.
Spider-Man and Daredevil have a history comic.
Right.
Like they are characters that interact quite a bit in the cartoons and comics, way more than a Doctor Strange. It would fit better in this movie. I doubt we get it if it's not in this movie, I don't think we're getting it for a while. I think
right,
it's
okay,
similar to what you think.
Which is why Homecoming, because why would they bring it up? Why would they bring it up now?
I'll probably say Far From Home, just because it's almost like too obvious that he brought it up, but I don't know. I lean towards Homecoming. I'm going to say Homecoming just because I don't want to be the middle guy every time. That's not fair. I'm going to say Homecoming. I think he's in the movie as well.
Great.
All right. Next one is Scarlet Witch. Do you think Scarlet Witch is in this movie?
No reason. Nah.
No, you don't think with any multiverse shit?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a Marvel movie, so there's a chance that any of the Avengers are in it at any given point, but I don't think her specifically.
Okay. So are you Far From Home or No Way Home?
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
She's still reading in that cabin doing spells or whatever.
I'm going to go No Way Home as well. I think she's obviously going to be a Multiverse of Madness. The only thing that gives me like maybe is Kevin Feige did say that WandaVision, Spider-Man, and Multiverse of Madness is kind of like a three thing arc, like they're all connected as one arc. He said that in an interview, which gives me the possibility of her being here. And also just like, I think whatever her role is going to be filled by Doctor Strange. I don't think there's really a reason for her in this one. I wouldn't be like shocked. I'm not saying like no chance, even though I'm going more the No Way Home route, but I think like 90% chance. No, maybe 95.
Yeah, I agree.
Iron Man, Tony Stark in a flashback or anything like that, will Robert Downey Jr. be on screen in a new filmed way, not a from another movie film way?
No, I don't think so either. I think it's too much. If they go back to Tony Stark, it's going to be too similar to Far From Home, and they just have so much to start and finish.
Not even a lot. I'm saying like a memory or like a voice recording or okay.
I really don't think that. I don't think they have 5-10 minutes to spare in this. I really don't.
I think it's not crazy long either. It's like 2:20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't.
I was expecting almost 3 hours. Yeah,
there's going to be too many wasted minutes in this movie. So
I'm going to go with a recorded message or something. I'm going to say Far From Home. Probably closer to No Way Home than Homecoming. Probably closer to a no than a yes. But I'm going to say Far From Home, more in the maybe sphere, because I think there's a chance there's like a recording or a memory or something.
Robert Downey Jr. had to record VO.
Yes. Okay. I don't think it was crazy even to think like that he was like just had to do a voice something.
Yeah.
So like it's literally something found and it's like a voice, like an Edith thing, like a message. Right. You know what I mean? Okay. Like Edith left him a message. I think that is where it operates. I don't think Robert Downey's going to be on screen.
No,
but
I just can do his lines over the phone if you need.
I just think, really, honestly, I just think it's too soon.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
To rely on Iron Man when they're trying to create something else. I think Marvel's trying to separate itself from the last phase. It's trying to start something new, and this is a part of it. That's all I had for people. Is there anybody else that you're like
Fantastic Four?
Fantastic Four, I was gonna say, but I actually thought Fantastic Four was like no shot. But I'll say Fantastic Four. All right, I'll go No Way Home for Fantastic Four. What do you think?
We'll go Far From Home. I don't think it's gonna be anywhere close to near capacity, but maybe like in passing, Oscorp's lead scientist, Dr. Richards or whatever, or
there's a lot of scuttlebutt that the Avengers Tower is bought by Reed Richards.
I've seen that
reference in that. I can see a reference in that way, but the only thing is, I don't think
there's going to be a speaking part. I don't.
Tom Watts, who is the director, is directing the new Fantastic Four. That got announced relatively soon, and I don't think they've done any casting, which is why it's like I don't even think they've started to lay out. If they have, it's secret casting.
Oh yeah, right, okay, but yeah, so, then I'm in the same boat. Maybe not an actual appearance. Then if we're just going references, yeah,
all right,
then
all right. I don't hate that. I don't hate the idea of a reference. I think there's a possibility like everything we've named it, but could be like referenced.
Sure.
Like there's a reference possibility for a lot of this stuff. We just don't know where they're going to go next with the story, the greater Marvel story, which is a ton of fun. Okay, so now I just have some questions.
Sure.
Will the villains be the same villains from each universe in the movies we've seen? So what I mean by that is, will Electro be the Electro in Solom, I know he doesn't look the same, but in the Lizard, will they be the same people with the same memories and the same experiences as the Electro and Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man 1 or in 2? You know what I'm saying? So will they be variants of from another universe that just happen to look like them? What do you think about that? Did I lay that out clear enough?
Yeah, you did. Okay. Lizard would probably be a easier case. Lizard and Doc Ock died. Yeah, I'm just, I guess, specifically thinking of Electro, right? Totally
Electro's tough.
A totally different costume,
like Green Goblin too. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
Defoe.
Exactly.
Is that
like
Spider-Man 1 Defoe?
Very difficult to say because you have to place it on their own timeline too. I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, because this is getting into how does the movie end, right?
It's huge.
Like,
it's a huge plot point. These are our predictions, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'll be disappointed. Because I think that's a missed mark. Then I think if they're gonna do it, they should just go all in. And I doubt they decided to go multiverse and not go all in. That would disappoint me. To take a shot this big, but not take it. And that feels like not taking, like we're taking the shot, but we're not giving it we're not going all the way. You got to go all in on the crazy.
This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. This goes with the marketing and what,
right.
It's not our fault what we expect anymore. Marvel has led us in this direction.
Right. You're giving people an excuses to not like these movies for these stupid reasons because of the way you advertised it.
Yeah.
You can no longer be mad at the people.
Exactly.
Like, you can't be mad at the people for wanting the cooler version of the thing you're giving us. Of course, that's where our minds are going to go. That's dumb of you to not think that's where we're going to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it won't ruin the movie or anything like that, but I hope so. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope so. All right.
I like to think that Kevin Feige wouldn't let this go through the next phase of marketing if they couldn't deliver on at least the obvious promises.
Well, and especially because like the way they talk about it too is like, this is from trailers, obviously I haven't seen the movie, so I don't even know why I'm saying no spoiler or anything. But from the kind of idea of this trailers is it seems like Spider-Man does not want to kill these people. And Doctor Strange is saying it's the only thing to do. It's their destiny. They died in their universe kind of thing. Even though not all of them did, like Sandman didn't die. So like there are interesting things like that. And there could be completely misleading. It's not above Marvel to like have them record fake lines. Like we've seen that. But I just think that would be a better play. And it looks like the Goblin, they obviously have to get these people out of their universe before they die, but have the experiences be like, I want them to have their memories, but they also can't die. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm just telling you what I think they're going to do because of our expectations. And I don't think at this point you can sit there and be mad at the public for the expectations that you made.
Yep. Same note, JD. When in the movie do you think Venom shows up? Because that
I think Venom is a part of. All right, so this is a basic, I guess, prediction of kind of how I think the what's the word I'm looking for? The
synopsis,
the pace, I guess, of the movie.
Is okay, yeah.
I think we're gonna have all the bad guys. I think Doc Ock is gonna come in the first wave with the guys we've seen.
Definitely, yeah. He has camera time.
This is not a crazy idea. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm the only one saying that. Doc Ock is going to join Spider-Man in the wrangling of the other guys.
Yeah,
it seems like him and Electro are fighting. Doc Ock, I don't think is going to be a bad guy for much of this movie.
Yeah, agreed.
When he finds out what's going on, because he's a smart guy, he can be reasoned with. He's going to understand that, this could tear the fabric of the universe, whatever, we need to do this. Plus, it would fit his redemption arc that he finished in Spider-Man 2, which people loved. So I think that's not a crazy thought. I think that first group of bad guys, it's very clear that it seems to be Green Goblin is the leader. They're each looking for redemption in their own way. I don't know that the details of how or who or what, but I do think towards the end, they're all coming through line is when we're going to get Venom and when we're going to get randos. I think we could get more than what we've seen. I think like there are more bad guys to be had and to come.
Like,
and I think we can get randoms that we haven't seen yet in a movie, but Spider-Man villains we know. You know what I mean? Like a Rhino or like, stuff like that. I could see I guess
would it be
this is
Rhino
very
from
no,
not the
that's what I'm
ending of that
saying
movie?
is you would get people from other universes. Like it's gonna be like,
okay,
oh my God, reveal this person's playing this person in the
right.
whatever. And I don't know. There's obviously speculation that Spider-Man has to go in a universe with all these villains and sacrifice himself, and all that makes sense. I'm not going to get into the semantics. I guess my prediction is pacing wise. Venom does not come with the first wave of bad guys. I guess that's a long answer to what you were asking. What do you think?
So like hour and a half, you're thinking?
I just think the first wave of bad guys is that group. I don't think Venom's in on that group's plan.
No, yeah, agreed.
I think he comes in late.
Okay.
Later.
Great.
So for what it's worth. Yeah. So this is a question I have for you too.
Sure.
So I guess I'll separate into two kind of categories.
Okay.
Just plain and simple. People gotta die.
Yeah,
people
they do.
Got to die.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Holland has said they're gonna put people in bad situations. Shit's gonna happen. I'm gonna go with the 3 Spider-Men in its own category, and then we'll do Spider-Man's friends. The 3 Spider-Man, who dies out of the 3? Do any of them die? What do you think about that?
One dies.
And which one?
Either I would probably say Tobey Maguire.
100%. Tobey. I think 100% Tobey's gone.
100%. Yeah.
Almost positive Tobey dies in this movie.
My prediction for the ending of this movie is Tom goes to Tobey's world. To be that world Spider-Man.
Wouldn't hate that. And they all go there.
Yeah.
And that would be the Sony verse. It's not necessarily what Venom. Verse. But the problem with that too is we know Vulture and Morbius are in the Sony verse they created for. That would be tough. Okay, but I don't hate that. I'm gonna go with I think Tobey dies for sure. I think everyone's saying that Andrew saves MJ there as redemption for his Gwen loss. I've seen that a lot. I'd be shocked by that as he sacrifices himself. I think for sure Tobey. I think I'd put Andrew at like 45%. I just think it's really obvious to kill both them all, but I think Andrew gets his. I think Tobey and Andrew both get their goodbye that they never quite got with their movies because they both thought they were getting another one. Where Andrew's done. Andrew's done. All his villains are gone. He gets to go back. He's older, whatever. And Tobey dies because he's the grandfather of it all. He deserves kind of his sacrifice moment.
Yeah,
I think they die. Even though now that I'm saying it, what would play better plot wise is Tobey would be the older guy who just is done. And the reason Andrew's done is because he dies. Because like Andrew could still be Spider-Man. Like the retiring, I don't know, but I'm gonna stick with my prediction. I think Tobey. Okay, next is cast members we know.
Yeah.
MJ, Ned, Happy. I'm going to go out on a limb and say out of that group of his friends and close people, the person close to Peter that dies, I think Aunt May is dying in this movie. That's my bold prediction.
Marissa Tomei dies in this movie?
I think Aunt May dies in this movie.
Oh, no.
I do. Because MJ... They already did it with Gwen. Like, I don't think there's a lot of speculation that MJ is going to die. I don't think so. I think they love Zendaya. If anything, he might have to sacrifice leaving her behind if she wants to be done with the movies or something in the universe he goes to. But I think Marissa Tomei and Aunt May dies because to me it seems the person that's close to him that would affect him and be like emotional, but that you could move on without when you continue to make movies. You don't need her.
Yeah, they're not going to kill Ned.
You don't think so?
Okay. They might like put him in a coma or something, but I don't think, especially a Disney movie, is going to kill a kid. Not yet. Not yet. They haven't earned that yet.
They have.
But
before. Sony killed a kid.
Sony killed a kid.
A young adult.
Yeah.
They're going to college. They're young adults. They're 18. Right. They can die.
Yeah.
That's the rule. I'm going to make you pick one, just so you know. I have a second.
Yeah, no, Spider-Man's had it too good too long. No one
and he has
died yet.
Thomas said too, like this movie's going to put you in emotional positions that you're going to be like upset about. I'm like, all right, that's Tom saying someone big dies.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I could see Aunt May. You're right.
You think Aunt May? I also think I think Happy's got a good chance.
Happy has a very good. She's been.
You don't need him anymore. Iron Man's gone. If Spider-Man goes to
gone.
another universe, that's like Happy's connection to MCU. I think Happy. There's a good chance Happy eats it.
Happy adopts Peter after MJ dies. That's what happens.
And then they solve everything, and Peter and Happy have a fight, and Peter goes to get milk, and Happy goes to follow him and gets shot by a carjacker.
Yeah.
And dies in Peter's arms after they save the day. Why? You were like a father. Well, more like an uncle. But I loved you, Happy. Yeah. So I think that's probably how the movie ends for sure.
100%.
This is sorry, guys. This is gonna go long, but I just love talking about this stuff.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna keep going. I don't even care that we're pushing it here.
Good.
They're coming in, and I can't stop them. Is that obvious? Like, is that too obvious to be at the end of the movie?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, Doctor Strange, when like the purple everything's and he's looking there and he's like really struggling in the scene in the trailer where he's they're coming through and I can't stop them. You know, like he's like trying or whatever. It's the very end of the trailer. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a huge part of the movie. I think that's when like Venom and stuff's gonna come in. What do you think that's too obvious to be at the end of the movie?
No. That could be the beginning of the movie when Doc Ock first comes in.
It could.
Could be a lot of things. I'm good to not speculate on that. That's too much of an ambiguous line.
Yeah, but it's a big part. It's going to be a big part of the movie. It's going to be huge.
Yeah,
it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think it's
the thing that keeps getting me is I think they're all coming to. We know they're all coming to his universe at some point. I don't know if that final battle happens in his universe.
Or between
I don't think it does. I don't think it does because that Statue of Liberty with the shield and all that doesn't exist, at least in the MCU we've seen so far. So I think a lot of it is getting them out of the universe. But I think that final battle on the Statue of Liberty, I think that happens in not the MCU universe.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just bold. We're just officially in I'm just bold prediction.
I mean, if Doctor Strange is involved, maybe you could be in 10 universes in 5 seconds, you know?
But that's the thing, though, is like that is not in our universe. They're giving us a landmark that clearly isn't unless they open the movie with the Statue of Liberty has been converted into a monument. And then I'll be like, okay, I was wrong.
Right. No,
For Captain America. I'm like, oh, okay. They're introducing it in this movie. But like we've seen it. Not in anything. It seems like that would be a good Easter egg to throw in, like Falcon and Winter Soldier or something. Did you see the Cap monument? You know, stuff like that. So, anything else? Is there a really bold prediction you got to get out there, Kev? Anything like crazy? I have another random bold prediction thought.
Yeah, what?
We have multiple goblins.
Oh yeah, maybe. Quite possibly.
You know what I mean? Because I know there's a uniform change at some point, which could very easily be like the original Goblin came.
And then Hobgoblin or whatever.
He got his mash. It could be this 2 William Dafoe Green Goblins. Like it could be just different universes. But I think I don't think that's going to happen, but it's just a thought I had the one day when they're like, oh, there is a costume difference. You know, there is a this. Stuff like that to think about. The Electro one is the one that's like, man,
I really don't. Yeah,
just
exactly.
Like he's almost the one that's tough.
It is. Absolutely is.
It's going to be really tough to find out how they get them there before they die, but yet knowing the Spider-Man, which leans towards the idea that maybe they aren't from that universe, which I wouldn't like. But
we're going to know so much more things in like 72 hours.
Though. I know. I love speculating, though. This is our preview. This is what we're doing. Yeah. We're speculating. We're getting I want this to be like the hype. People listen to this. They're like, oh, that's a fun thing to think about going in. Oh, that's a... You know, I want if you see this before the movie comes out or whatever, throw some predictions down below and comments and stuff like that. Tweet at us, like that's a ton of fun too. So, all right, Kev.
Last prediction. Post credit, not having anything to do with the movie, is either going to be or both, I guess. Blade or Moon Knight.
I can see that.
We have a little bit of both. And I think they're gonna prod the fire a little bit.
I like that. I think that's a possibility. I also shot in the dark, like random, like a Morbius Vulture kind of thing, because maybe he is in Sony at this point. And we know that at the end. I could see that. I wouldn't love it, but I'd see it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything else? Anything else?
I'm gonna have to listen to 30 Seconds to Mars in this Morbius preview.
All right, guys, that is our Spider-Man preview. We're going to get into our ranking of the list. Like I said, tweeted us your predictions, comment your predictions. I am just so excited. And please, please, please try to stay away from spoilers. It's going to be tough. I know I'm addicted to Twitter too. I'm going to try to stay off the internet. You gotta, because people are going to start to see the movie, and it comes out 2 days
in a couple hours.
England.
People are going to start watching the movie in a couple hours.
Yes, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to, because like you want to see first reactions of like, oh, like are people liking it, but also like you don't want the one asshole.
Yeah, be safe out there. Don't be an asshole.
God, don't be an asshole. And the British get to see it 2 days early. Don't know how that happened. Time for another tea party.
Yeah,
the
British. Yeah,
the British. You British out there, if you're watching, we love you, but don't spoil it. Otherwise, we will blame you for all of our problems.
Don't be a wanker.
Don't be a wanker, or you will be blamed for all our problems in the world, just in general. It's a lot of with great. You know what, England? Look me right in the eye, the camera.
Nice.
With great power comes great responsibility. Enjoy seeing it early. Do not spoil anything. All right, Kev, let's get into our ranking of the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches seeds just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
All right, Kev.
Hey.
So like I said, we're going to rank all our movies. These are our favorite. Nostalgia goes on into it. Action. I'm doing it in the time frame too of like, or the mindset of like time is relevant to when it came out too. Sure. Like basically I'm talking about the Toby ones, but you know, like I do think that matters. We all going to have our own criteria, but that is our favorite. Part of it is a straight critique of like good movie versus bad movie for the time, all that. And part of it is entertaining. It's your favorite. It's my favorite. It's all of our favorites.
How many accents, your boy does per movie?
Yeah, and I've seen your list of mine. It's not crazy to think we sat here and trashed Venom and stuff. We have pretty similar ideas on these things, but still there are a couple differences. So maybe we can get some good arguments going and flowing here. But the worst, and this is both Venom movies. This is all three of Toby's movies. This is the two Amazing Spider-Men, the two MCU movies, and Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. So there should be 10 if I did it correctly. But what is our worst Spider-Man movie out? Kevin's is Venom 2. Shocker.
Correct.
Mine is Venom 2. This is correct. This is the correct one. Kevin, just tell us, why does Venom 2 suck?
Because they have a 5-minute karaoke scene where he preaches to a whole bunch of hipsters as Venom.
I wish it was a karaoke scene. It's a rave.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He doesn't actually sing, but he just does
a rave
speech. Yeah.
It's a rave.
Very
Kevin,
weird.
It's a rave. This one was worse than the first one, which I didn't like.
No,
right. It leaned into the stuff I hated. And I know people like this movie. So, like, I guess I don't know. I don't know if I'm in the minority. I don't know. I'm fine to be in that minority. People like this movie. If you like this movie, that's fine. I like stupid movies. I like a lot of stupid comic book movies because I like comic book movies. For me to trash a comic book movie that's even bad, I like bad comic book movies. You'll see towards the top of my list. I like stupid bad comic book movies. Mm-hmm. This wasn't fun bad to me. This wasn't entertaining. There was not anything to take away from this. I didn't laugh. There wasn't cool action. It wasn't goofy in a fun way like Blade or, kind of like, oh, this is over the top, but they're leaning into it. Fun.
Like not the old Blades or like Mission Impossible, like Fast and Furious.
There's just
fun.
Not a lot of
nothing here.
Quality. We did a whole Venom 2 spoiler cast in an older episode. If you've seen this movie or if you have no plan to or whatever, go watch that. It's a lot of fun because we pretty much trash it. Unless you like it, then you can sit there and get mad at us. But your number 9 is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I disagree, but
okay.
Mine is Spider-Man 3. I'm going to let you say why Amazing Spider-Man 2 is low on yours, and I'll tell you why you're wrong when you're done.
This is Jamie Foxx's worst movie he's ever done. It doesn't look good. The plot is absolutely terrible. And as much as people want to compare Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, at least Tobey Maguire's fun. This guy forces personality that he doesn't have for about an hour and a half out of this movie, and I am not satisfied with almost all.
I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 is kind of what we were talking about. I think it's wildly entertaining. There's so much going on, and the plot's not great. I find it wildly entertaining. I actually don't mind Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I actually think it's decent. There's stuff I don't like about it for sure, but I think he at least does something with it a little more than Tobey does.
he does do something, yeah.
And I think him and Emma Stone are the most intriguing love interest in any of the Spider-Man movies. I really do. Wow. I think they have great chemistry, and I love Gwen Stacy, and I also love Emma Stone as an actress. Mine's Spider-Man 3. This movie was really bad. That being said, it's just this movie starts the first 40 minutes. Every time I watch it, I'm like, this is not as bad as I thought it was.
Right.
We give this movie too much grief. The Goblin scene, there's a lot of CGI, but the Goblin fight in the beginning is kind of fun. And
sure,
there's some fun aspects, and the suit looks cool when he first gets it. And then the middle of the movie, second to third act.
Second act hurts.
And the second act is easily the worst part. Even the end, it's stupid how we get there, but there are moments they didn't earn. But when the Goblin comes and some decent fight scenes, I actually think the Venom suit doesn't look bad in this.
No, it doesn't, especially for the age.
I really don't think it's terrible. There are things to take away from this. I think it's a relatively entertaining because it's bad kind of movie, which is why it's ahead of Venom 2. I'd rather watch this instead of Venom 2.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it just missed the mark, and it was the end of a trilogy too, of a series I really liked. So that hurts too.
Sure.
Yours is Spider-Man 3. My next is Venom. Similar things of what I just said. I mean, we have similar thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. It does not care. This movie does not care about anything. It built a phenomenal world. Spider-Man 2 is obviously, and 1, I guess, is obviously leagues above the last one on this, especially leaving off the way that they did for Spider-Man 2. Really sharp cliff dive to the sequel, but it does have my favorite Spider-Man in it. Not my favorite Spider-Man, between the old two. I much prefer Tobey Maguire over, and so that is kind of what's carrying it over for me. But that's about it.
Fair. Yeah, mine's Venom. I'm a Venom hater. I don't like these movies at all. I know you don't either. No. Venom 1 at least had a little more of a redeeming quality. They just doubled down on what I hated in Venom 1, which is why I don't like Venom 2 more.
Sure.
Venom it was tough between Venom and Spider-Man 3 because if I'm putting on my serious film critic hat, Spider-Man 3 is a worse movie, just based on the budget and the situation. The stuff around it. Spider-Man 3 is a bigger failure. Maybe that's how I should word it.
Yeah, it is.
I think I'd rather watch Venom or Spider-Man 3 instead of Venom, though. I don't think that's crazy. But Venom's ahead of it because I think Spider-Man 3 is a disaster and needs to be low on the list because of what it had going for it and what it failed at. So that's the only reason I have Venom ahead of it, because I was very close to putting Venom 1 and 2, my 2 least favorite, because I do not like these movies. And if I remember correctly, yours is right there. And mine is Amazing Spider-Man 1. So Venom, look, we have pretty similar lists. The Amazing Spider-Man we're going to be where we differ, obviously. I obviously like Amazing Spider-Man 2 better than 1, as we're seeing there. Like I said, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just a more entertaining movie. It might not be better plot-wise or anything, but I think they both suck plot-wise. You know what I mean? Some people 2 is garbage, but 1's okay. I'm like, I think they're pretty much the same, except 2 has better fight sequences. I love the dynamic between Emma Stone and Peter Parker, and I like him. I've seen the origin story so many freaking times, and I don't think Amazing Spider-Man 1 does it well. I think the entire plot line with his dad and his mom that carries on to 2, that starts in 1, I think is terrible. And I like that. On the surface, it's a cool idea. Executed just unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
This movie takes 2/3 for it to be him to be Spider-Man, and I've seen the origin story, and I like the origin story the first time better. Spider-Man 2 is at least entertaining. Least entertaining.
Spider-Man 2
That's why it's ahead.
Yeah, and
I don't think
the
either
only
of them are
reason,
great movies. Let me
the
just say
only
that.
reason I have Amazing Spider-Man 1 over Amazing Spider-Man 2, more Emma Stone. That's the only reason. I love that
Is in
actress more in, much more in 1.
Yeah. You also said
But-
you haven't watched these in a while.
That's
fair,
last
right?
week I rewatched them.
Oh, you did rewatch them. Okay.
Yeah.
Then never mind. I take it back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Because I know before that you said like I had not watched them.
No, yeah, before then you reminded me that we're recording this. Like,
yeah, I should probably watch them. Yeah. Okay, then never mind. All your feelings are valid then. Yeah, I'd say she's in it more. That's fair. Totally fair. All right, let's move on. All right, so yours is next is Amazing Spider-Man 1. This is my Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Like same
we're
stuff.
talking to death. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fine.
We've kind of done the Amazing Spider-Man talk. Both of us have Spider-Man 1 next. This movie deserves a lot of credit for the time. It kicked it off. Where this movie falls apart is like what? The Goblin's just kind of bad. You know, this is before you had to have bad guys with cool motivations.
Right. Yeah. It's very campy. It's very A to B to C, and then the movie's over. But it's bright. It's fun. I like Tobey Maguire's little banter. It's a very good origin story too.
It is. I like him becoming Spider-Man. I think it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
The way he
obviously we're kind of influenced because this was our like first childhood
100%
Spider-Man, but I really do think that this one and 2 both really, really hold up. So good on him.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And this movie is almost transcended like it's almost iconic at this point to where we are allowed to forgive the bad because it was a long time ago and because of what it started. We can give it credit for that. And at the same time, be like, yeah, of course it's dumb that they were sitting there without any expression talking to each other on a bridge. And of course it's dumb that he didn't check who Spider-Man was in that moment. And yeah, he's just going to get Mary Jane because he's evil. All right, whatever. The origin story was done in a cool way. It's iconic. And I also still think William Dafoe, for the, kind of weird writing and not really great motivations, I still love him as Goblin. Like, I still think he
great actor
does it well. I love the laugh. And his theme in that music-wise is also spectacular. And that's another thing Spider-Man, the original series, deserves credit for, is that incredible theme. That is one of my favorite themes in a movie. Yeah. I love the original Spider-Man. But you're going to have Spider-Man 2 here. And this is controversial, and I can be talked into flipping these. I'm just going to do it because we have them there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I could be talked into flipping these. The only reason I did it this way is I do think Spider-Man 2 deserves a ton of credit for the time, it being one of the better superhero movies and starting to really get the formula down.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's groundbreaking for what it was, especially for a sequel back in those days. It was absolutely incredible because it took what we loved about the first one and just ran with it. It didn't bother with a lot of meaningless exposition. We're in Doc Ock, who I'm very excited to see his reprise. It did a phenomenal job in
great bad guy.
Yeah, and it looked good for such a difficult thing to pull off. Those
that train fight. Are you kidding me?
Awesome. Absolutely.
That's one of the best fight scenes. Like, that still holds up. I watched those. I watched all these movies in the last month getting ready for this. It still holds up. And the extended version is even better with that fight. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And so the reason I have it ahead of Spider-Man Far From Home, we can talk about that too now because we're the reason I have it there is I think this movie is a better A to B to C Spider-Man story. Far From Home is a funny high school story that turns into a Spider-Man thing, and I think deserves so much credit for having a good Mysterio on screen. I didn't think we were ever going to get a live action Mysterio that made sense, and I love this movie. I literally just watched this movie a couple days ago. I love that movie. I just think Spider-Man 2 deserves credit for the time, and I think for it being in its own universe, not relying on Marvel and just telling an awesome Spider-Man story. That's why it's ahead for me. What do you think Far From Home, though?
I 100% agree with you. It actually could very well be a better written story than Spider-Man Far From Home.
Right.
But it's in the MCU.
It's in the MCU. I'd rather watch Far From Home, if I'm being honest, but I'm giving it credit.
You're giving it credit, but the reason that the first act is, more than just a high school, getaway to Europe is because we have the loss of Tony Stark, is because Peter feels the weight of the rest of the universe on his shoulders. And obviously we don't get that from, Homecoming, because, that was just another Spider-Man movie. This is
you do get Iron Man.
Okay, right. But this is,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
On top of Infinity War, on top of Endgame, all put together to create context to make the first half of this movie as interesting, at least to me, as the second half, because the second half is so well put together.
You know what's really cool is we are both saying the same things as one. I'm saying it has a crutch, I guess, of the MCU, and you're saying like the MCU is why it's better because it has the MCU, and I think we're both right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like it is also why it's better and why it's not.
Yeah,
it has the crutch of the MCU, but yet that's also why Spider-Man 2 might be more impressive. But at the same time, like use what you got. It's awesome that it's in the MCU. It's the movie after Endgame.
Yep.
I mean, that is awesome. That movie had a big responsibility, and they did a great job. They did a great job. Kevin, I know you've seen mine. What do you think my 1 and 2 is? Like, what do you think the order is?
I think your top one is Spider-Verse.
Okay. So let's just do them. Yours is not. Yours is 2. We're the same.
Ooh,
we're the absolute same.
Yeah.
I tell you what, give me your reasoning and I will give you mine because we obviously agree. I wonder if our reasoning's similar. Why is Homecoming your absolute favorite? At the same time, you can rave about Spider-Verse, but why would you pick it over Spider-Verse?
Because I almost love these movies equally, but I cannot rationalize putting a cartoon over a live-action Spider-Man movie.
It's 100% my reasoning. It's 100% my reasoning.
It's so beautiful and gorgeous, and the music cues and the voice acting is so freaking good in this. But if the option's there, I want to see a real life Spider-Man,
Right.
Yeah. So just Michael Keaton in this Spider-Man Homecoming. Obviously, I'm going to switch over to Homecoming, but yeah, Michael Keaton, a brand new, I guess, take on not MJ, I guess also MJ, but I was going to say Aunt May. We get to dive into these characters that we barely scraped the surface on between Civil War and Infinity War, but a lot of these characters come back and they provide great banter and background, and they get between plot points so well, so concisely, and they add to the universe so efficiently. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I'm the same way. The Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, first of all, when you're like, well, you just hate cartoon, but no, I'm not afraid to put a cartoon over every other Spider-Man movie because it's better.
Yeah.
Similar with you, they're pretty much like almost the same, but I'm with you. I'd rather have a live action. If I had my druthers, I'd want my favorite movie to be a live action movie over a cartoon.
Yep.
That being said, Into the Spider-Verse deserves all sorts of credit because it is the voicing of Miles and the vibe of Miles is perfect. They get like the naive kid done awesome. It's looks awesome. It is hilarious. It is a great Spider-Man story, yet so different.
John Mulaney, Jake Johnson,
they deserve a ton of
credit.
They deserve a ton of credit. Spider-Man Homecoming to me is a damn near perfect Spider-Man movie. He's in high school. He's a stupid kid, but yet how he gets his suit and all that stuff. A lot of our questions make sense. There's not really a plot hole in any of that way, but yet it still does get to use some MCU, yet it doesn't rely on it. It is a Spider-Man story. But the dynamic between him and Iron Man is so freaking good that I'm not going to take that as a negative towards it, even though you're going to sit there and be like, well, you did it for Far From Home. That's a little different. I think it used the MCU plot line as a whole as a crutch more than it does in Homecoming. I think Homecoming is a straightforward Spider-Man story and almost like the perfect scale of an origin, a first bad guy too. Friendly neighborhood. They nail what I wanted out of him. They also deserve a ton of credit for getting, we said this the other day, but I know he was in Civil War, but they get credit for Tom Holland. I think they get credit for Aunt May being a completely different take and a better take. MJ, a different take. And I'm not ready to say better or worse, but a different take and a much needed because we don't want to see the same thing. Part of what Amazing Spider-Man did not do well it tried to be different, but it was also too much of the same sometimes. Like the origin was like, okay, it's just a slightly different worded version of with great power comes great responsibility, or how Uncle Ben dies, but it's pretty much the same. This is different. This is like, we don't need it. You've seen it. We don't need it.
Yep.
You know, you got bit by a spider. Move on.
We can tell a better story if we don't need the 45 minutes to tell the story.
It's an hour of it. Yeah. Into the Homecoming, it's one of my favorite. Go check out our old ranking of the MCU, but it's both in our top 5. I think it was like 4 for me, or it's close. But they're high. I love this movie. I mean, I could be talked into this being my favorite Marvel movie on a given day. I just absolutely love it. That being said, Spider-Verse deserves a ton of credit because it is also like incredible. But I'd rather have a live action movie, and it's not just because it's live action. I do think it is slightly better too. I do. I think it's slightly better.
Tom Holland, man. Tom Holland. He's Spider-Man.
And like we've talked about in our villains draft, which again, go check out. But in our villains draft, I love Vulture. Like Michael Keaton's Vulture is a top 4 bad guy for me.
I mean, in the draft, I
love him.
Yeah,
top 5 probably just in general for me. Love Vulture.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that deserves a ton of credit. But that's our list. Tell us what we got right, what we got wrong. What you think is right, wrong. Who's your favorite Spider-Man? All that in the comments. Whatever. Kevin, we're already running long, so happy Spider-Man week. Anything else you gotta throw out there into the world, into the universe? Because next week, by the way, we will be spoiler reviewing and non-spoiler reviewing Spider-Man.
I feel so that'll be next episode. But on this Monday night, dude, I can't so wait ignorant.
To be so wrong about all our predictions.
I know. I'm just giddy. Oh God, I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait. We're gonna have a blowout extravaganza next week, JD. It's gonna be so nice. Oh my God.
That has been Kevin. I have been JD. People who see the movie before others, remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Please do not spoil. We love you, and have a freaking excellent time at the movie theaters. We deserve this.
Have a marvelous day.
Have a marvelous day.